Rain coming up, here we go. 3, 2, 1, action! One! Thumbs up, Andy. All right, you guys are good.
This isn't a big stunt movie, but they're very technical because it's small and there's a lot of elements introduced into it that, you know, like you don't, it's not like Die Hard where it's like action every 5 seconds. But the action in this is very story driven, and it's about these characters, which to me is always more appealing anyway.
What I always look for with stunt coordinators is the ability to create choreography that feels real. Oftentimes what these guys are so good at is making it bigger than life, making it extremely photographable, but it doesn't look like it was our characters doing it.
Bringing the real knife in.
Real metal knife with a doll's blade.
I said, I want this ending to feel like when you watch it, you have to kind of rewind and look at it again because it really looked like it really was Penn and Dylan in every single one of those shots. We have to embrace what they are as people and then make the action serve the character first. So Mike brought in these doubles that were perfect matches for them for the scenes that required stuntmen, the crashes and the falls and what have you.
I'd like some answers. You hear me?
Yep.
Got it.
All right, here we go. Pictures up, guys.
Pictures up.
Locked up and very quiet.
Is everybody good?
3, 2, 1, action!
My daughter's 10 years old, and when she heard that I said, you know, I'm thinking of doing this movie, and I said, it's, you know, it's a thriller. She said, do you die? And I said, well, actually, I do die. And she goes, don't do it, don't do it. And I said, well, you feel bad. You feel bad when I die. She said, don't do it.
Hey, look, I told Michael that I would do some checking on you, and to be honest, I'd like some answers. Hey, you hear me?
Yeah.
So Mike was the guy who helped me create a method of doing that for the actors that was safe, that was comfortable for them, that was believable for the audience watching the film, but also he could see that there were certain physical things that were going to be problems. So he was quick to bring in a team that knew how to do the rigging and the harnessing and where to set the bags and how to do the falls. So I could get all the shots I needed.
Nelson knew exactly what he wanted, and you know, as a stunt coordinator and second year director, my job is to, you know, deliver his vision.
Ready, set, and action!
Hey, great job, guys. Listen, one small
Guys,
change.
quiet for a moment, please.
I love the ending of this film because it is a series of escalating events. It's a great sort of stair step up to a climactic finish. What we wanted was an ending that was truly operatic. As we escalate in tension, we elevate in each floor of the house. So it's this great culmination of events.
Stairs now, move, move!
Go, go, go!
Stay away!
Cutting, resetting.
You're where, right here when you're in the car?
You're roughly. I mean, I'm trying to get as far as I can.
Okay, well, here's the thing. You go and you extend down. If Dylan keeps his head inside there.
That was great.
Is it?
Yeah, you're going right past us, right through his head.
Bam, right there. Nelson's vision was so clear that I wanted to make sure that what I was presenting to him was his vision. So I just took a little handy cam and we went out, and as you can see, we assembled the storyboards in a visual presentation. Some things are lost in translation, inevitably, on any movie. And it's always better if you can show someone what you're thinking, or they can show you what they're thinking. So by shooting a previs, it allowed me to say, hey, Nelson, is this what you're thinking? Is this kind of what you want? And then he'd say, no, hey, that's great, or hey, no, that's not exactly what we want. Can we tweak that?
It helped me a lot because oftentimes when you storyboard something and you have an action sequence in your head, it doesn't quite translate in reality. Yeah, you know, in your mind, yeah, it'd be really cool to crash through this window and pop up and start shooting and then jump over this chair. And then you get to the real location and realize, well, none of that would work exactly the way I imagined it. So you put it in the hands of your collaborators and say, what do you guys think? And how would it work in reality? I put it in the hands of Mike Smith. I said, this is what I want. This is what I want to feel like. Show me what's possible and what's safe and what's photographable, and we'll do it. That's why he went off on his own and spent a lot of time in both places, because the two-house dynamic, he needed to create falls that would start on stage and then finish out in South Pasadena.
They finished the set about 2 weeks ago, and well, they didn't finish it, but they had it far enough along that we could actually go in and cut some holes and rig for the actual falls. On rehearsal, you don't have all the elements that will be there on the day, but you test things to make sure that nobody's gonna get hurt, or that you can perform the stunts that are called for per the storyboards.
The whole attic sequence literally had to be frame for frame, shot for shot, dialed in almost before we started building that attic. We had to know exactly where things were going to happen, so that, because when you build potential holes in the wall, you can't be sort of happenstance about where you're going to put the camera and where you want it to happen. You have to be very exact about it.
So what I did was I basically shot the storyboards so that we could see if there were any problems that we could address before. And what we found out was the floor, as you fall through it, in the early stages, it would fall as a square, and it looks like a set piece. So we got our heads together and we made some alterations, and so what you'll see in the movie is what we came up with.
Kelly!
Kelly, watch out!
Kelly! Come on, take me! No, Kelly! No!
It was challenging to shoot up on a set where you know there's two giant holes and you have that many people moving around. And the other bad thing is it takes a long time to reset that. If you break that roof the wrong way, you have to wait another day to shoot it. It's not like you can just put it back together and go, all right, we'll do this in an hour. So that's why the rehearsals were so important.
There you go, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
Well, in the case of the attic stunt and the crash out onto the roof and the fall, we always knew that there were some portions where I had to show to the audience that it was really Penn Badgley and Dylan Walsh in those moments, and then there were other shots that you design in a way that it can be done with the stunt guys who could create a much more dynamic sense of physicality and danger in a safe way that we could photograph.
We're gonna be like this. We're gonna come out, bam, through. I'm gonna come through a little bit first. Yeah. Right. I'm gonna land on my back.
Why don't you put it in your left hand and let go of it as you go through? Copy that.
The guys that we're doing here now, this is David and Michael busting through the attic, which is also wood and pre-scored. Our two stunt actors are gonna come out. They are harnessed and cabled, and the cables are safety in such a way they cannot fall off the roof. When camera positions are set, we're gonna do a test of the rain and the level of the rain. Once we're happy with that, I'll let Mike call the action, since it's his guys up there.
Rain's coming up.
Let's roll sound, please. Rolling. That's it. 3, 2, 1, action.
For the most part, it really was Dylan, it really was Penn in almost all of those scenes, and Penn was anxious to do it. He didn't care if it meant wearing harnesses and wearing wires and putting himself in danger. He wanted to be the guy in those moments, even if it meant being on a roof in South Pasadena at night as rain's falling on you and it's 30 degrees outside.
3, 2, 1.
We were shooting in Pasadena, and again, because of a scheduling craziness, we were shooting the end of the movie in the first week. And it's shooting all night. Penn and I are soaking wet, and we're supposed to be fighting. And it was so cold, and there was no way to go back to a trailer and warm up. You're just wet and cold for hours. I've never been that cold in my life.
Most actors are kind of like this, where if they know it's going to be them featured on screen in a way that needs to appear to be suspenseful, dangerous, they're going to want to do it 9 times out of 10. And it's normally my job to sort of hold them back and show them where it's safe to put you in and where I really don't need you in there because I'm not going to see your face. And we have stunt doubles that are genius at what they do, so it'll work out.
And 3, 2, 1, action!
actual rig that we used to pull them over, one actor actually did one of the stunt doubles did the high fall on his own. The other stunt double was on a pick underneath the eave to a pulley that you couldn't see, down to the ground off to the side. And we had them on a mountain climbers use them. They're called gold tails. And it's basically a deceleration system. And what that pick also does, it allows someone to drop vertically, you know, in a line, so that when he pulled him off, he wouldn't go too far out and risk landing on the other stunt performer or having the other stunt performer landing on him.
There's a shot at the end after they've completed the fall and they're now laying on the ground. If you look closely at both Penn and Dylan, it looks like their body's convulsing or spasming from the adrenaline of the fall. That's not what's going on. They are breathing, and this is hardcore.
I think that's what makes a successful sequence. When you have proper planning and execution, and if you can shoot it and present it to someone early enough that you can make changes, it's just like an athlete. You practice well, you'll play well, and don't just show up on the day and hope you get it right, because that's not how it works anymore.